The vengeance of the black serpent. Then one day, a warrior who was standing lookout from the hilly country watching these serpents battle would see from his lookout post the red serpent reach around the neck of the white serpent and pull from him a feather as he tore open his throat. Ooh. This feather would be carried by the wind to the south. Here it would find its way to a great black serpent that appeared from some mysterious place where it had been hiding in the darkness, awakened from all the commotion warring in the north. The black serpent, upon studying the white feather, would be astounded as he watched its hair begin to dance upon the currents of the wind, turning itself into a white bird, and then into a white-skinned woman. This white-skinned woman would have the power and wisdom. She would be skilled in the ancient arts of the people, and she would speak to the black serpent in their ancient language. This was one which he understood. She would tell him stories as she danced upon the wind, shape-shifting before his eyes. She would tell the black serpent stories of great sickness and upon the land and in the hearts of the people. Stories of death and horror going on in the north. These things he would somehow know to be true, but again, he would have been asleep deep within the belly of the earth for a long time, so he's second-guessing possibly. He would ask her to tell him the stories once again, for it would be unbelievable to him that such things could be occurring on this earth. Then, when the woman was through with her tales, he would ever so gently place her down upon a rock, with great love and respect for her purity of spirit and her personal powers. He would then turn to the north and let loose a great roar, filling the winds with his fury over the horrors he had heard. The winds and the sound of the great roar they carried would be felt over the whole of the earth. It would rise up from the belly of the earth and even be heard in the heavens. With the great speed of the black serpent would then head towards the north to find the other two, the white and the red one that were warring before. The two serpents would already be weary from the firestorms and the stench of death. They would be sickened to the point that they were weak and exhausted. They would rise in horror and shock at the sudden appearance of the black serpent, which seemed to come from nowhere. They would recognize him, but not believe his appearance possible. The black serpent would attack the red and white serpents with a great vengeance, and he would defeat the red serpent entirely. Then he would stand upon the chest of the white serpent, letting out a horrible and boastful roar as he tore him into pieces. The battle would be short. It would not be too long before the black serpent would begin to look for yet another serpent to conquer, filled with the energy of war and killing. He would have taken on the evil of both serpents and become a power of darkness that defies description. It would appear that he intended to devour the whole of the earth and even the heavens in his fury. The great black serpent would look in all the directions for a formidable foe. When he turned towards the direction of the hilly country, he would see the people standing noble and erect, with their arms open, having fearless hearts, facing the winds of change. He would know that this was not where his fight was to be found. He would turn and look elsewhere. For a time, the whole of the world would be in darkness. Great clouds will have formed from the battle and the spewing of the smoke from the mother's belly. It would seem as if time itself had stopped. The black serpent would then turn a sound coming from the heavens and for a moment become blinded by a great and mysterious light that appeared from there. This great light would be many, many times brighter than the sun, traveling east, coming from the west, over the great waters. It would appear in the skies for the passing of 12 of our days. When it arrived, there would be no night or day. This would terrify the black serpent to such a degree that he would slither into the ocean, trying to hide himself from the great light. He would sink beneath the great waters and never be seen by the people again. A part of the white serpent would have survived, although weak. He too would see the light and make a feeble attempt to gather himself up and go towards that light, suffering greatly from the wound received in battle with the black serpent. This portion of the white serpent would find its way to the hilly country. Here, it would be taken in and helped by the people, as it is their way to nurture the weak. This portion of the white serpent would take on the ways of the people, but for a long time after, he would shake with fear whenever he again witnessed a great light. Then, as if rising from the ground itself, the form of the red serpent would appear. He would also witness the strange light shining like a great star, and would tremble with fear. He would also try to crawl towards the north country, but would die along the journey from his wounds, leaving behind him a bloody trail that would split the earth into a shaky canyon. This trail would split the land of the turtle in two, and then into 4 pieces. To the south, where the black serpent had vanished, it would become ice melt. Great pieces of ice would begin to fall from the sky, putting much of the land to the east into the deep sleep of winter. There it would be purified from the death that it had known. In these times, we would witness other strange occurrences with weather. The seas would become violent and rise, covering much of the whole of the old shoreline. New cliffs would rise from the sea, as well as new lands. The trail left behind by the red serpent would be washed clean, as it filled with the waters from the north. New mountains would form along where the body of the red serpent lay still and cold in its death. This would form a new sea in the north country, which would forever remind the people of the dark times through which they had passed. Aho.